Hi, it's Russell Harris. Uh, this morning I had the wonderful breakfast I made. It was delicious, by the way. Uh, I don't like turkey bacon. Uh, just keep that in mind. Uh, I promised something for the kids, uh, and so this is the story of Gideon. Now, I can read it to you. It's kind of long, and it might go into 20 or 30 minutes, so I'm just going to tell the story. It's in the book of Judges, and I believe it starts in the middle of chapter 6. I'll read the first part. Now the angel of the Lord came and sat underneath the terebinth at Ophrah, which belonged to Josiah, while his son Gedion was beating out the wheat in the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him and said unto him, The Lord is with you, O mighty man of valor. Okay, I'll stop right there. Gideon, the wine press was down in the ground, as where they take the wheat down, because if the Midianites saw he was beating out of wheat, the Midianites would come in and steal all the wheat. So he was down in the wine press, hiding and threshing his wheat out, separating the hulls and the sticks and everything from the actual grains of wheat. And he's down there hiding, and the angel comes and says, Thou mighty man of valor. Well, that was the beginning of Gideon. Now, God called Gideon to go fight the Midianites. There's a lot of other stuff that happened in there. But Gideon said, okay, I think I can convince the people to do this. And he went out and he got thousands of men to volunteer. And God said, you know, that's too many men. If they want to go home, just ask them, just raise your hand and you can go home. And thousands of them went home. And God said, you know, that's still too many. And he says, take them over by this brook, and if they lap the water up like a dog, just send them on home. But if they scoop it up in their hands, then keep them. Well, Gideon ended up with 300 men. And you've heard the story of 300. I think this is where it came from. So here's Gideon with his 300 men, and he's going to go fight the Midianites. And there were 20 or 30,000 Midianites. Now, he doesn't know how he's going to win, but God tells him, give every man a big clay pot and put a light inside that pot and give every man his stick and his sword. And they surrounded the Midianites. And God said, when I give the signal, you crack that pot and yell as loud as you can. There's 300 men around the Midianites, 20,000, let's say. And so they did that. In the dead of the night, Gideon takes his 300 men, and he has these lamps in these pots, and they hold them up, and they crack the pots open, and they start yelling, and the Midianites panicked, and they started killing each other, and every one of them was slaughtered. You see, sometimes we think a situation is completely impossible, but God has a way. God has a plan. In the book of Romans, no, I take that back. It's not Romans. Um, Jesus had just fed 5,000 men, and he looked at the disciples and he said, gather up all those crumbs so that none is wasted. Sometimes we don't think we have the wherewithal, we don't have enough, but sometimes our solution is in all the little crumbs that are laying around, all the waste we have in our life. You know, we've asked God for things. We ask God to intervene in our life, and He wants to, but we don't have a plan. You know, there's another story in the Bible where a rich man gave one of his servants 10 talents, 10, let's call them $10. And he gave another one $5, and he gave another one $1. And he went away for a long time. And when he came back, he went to the servant with $10, and the servant said, I made a couple deals, and here I got you $20. And then he went to the man with $5, and he said, what have you done? And he says, look, I made a couple deals, and here I got you $10. And he went to the man with $1, and he says, what have you done? And the man says, you know, I knew that you reap where you weren't sow. And if I lost this money, you'd be really angry. So I buried it. And here's your dollar back. And the master said, you're an evil servant. You should have at least put it in the bank and I could have got interest on it. You knew what kind of man I am. So he took that dollar away and he gave it to the one that had the 10, or now 20. God doesn't answer some prayers because we don't have a plan. What are we going to do with the answer to our prayers? What are you going to do? Are you like Gedion hiding down in the threshing floor of a wine press? Are you surprised when the angel comes and says, you're a mighty man of valor? I know sometimes I am. Well, let's just think about it. Make the plan. And the plan is to spread the word of Jesus Christ wherever you go and whatever you do. St. Francis of Assisi once said, share Jesus Christ wherever you go, with whoever you meet, and when necessary, use your words. In other words, let your light, let your life reflect Jesus Christ. So remember Gedion when you're afraid, when you're hunkered down and you don't know what else to do. If you don't have a plan, God has a plan, and He's going to defeat your enemy for you. If you just follow what He has to say, go back in the book of Judges, start in chapter 6, and read the story of Gedion. It's chapter 6, 7, and 8. And read the story of Gedion. He just followed what God told him to say, what God told him to do. And God honored His word. God will always honor His word. Well, I hope you all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm going to try to make a couple more videos before Christmas gets here. But if I don't, well, God bless you. I hope you have just everything you want and need this year. And next year, I hope is very prosperous for you. And to all my grandchildren out there, if you're listening, I love you. I'm not a perfect man, and I think you know that. And I would just hope that you would look past all that and know that Jesus in my heart is trying to make me a better person. And I love you with all my heart. I always will. I overlook your faults, and I hope you overlook mine. So, God bless, and we will talk to you next time.